Good afternoon, everyone. How's your day going? Is it doing well? I hope it is. Me, it's just going nice and solid. Thank you for joining me. This is Red Alert. Yeah, it's a 2v2, guys. It's something different. Yeah. Let's get this started, and in the interim, I'll tell you everything you need to know. We start here for Northwest with JohnnyDee. This guy is playing as the Allies, as Germany. These guys get 10% more damage. That's their buff. Down in South America, we got ronanfreeburn playing as the USSR. These guys have a 10% cheaper price, I suppose, but they're not faster to build. And starting in China is synthelectric, also starring as the USSR, and his ally LimSv. I'm just gonna call you Lim from now on. Lim started in Russia, playing as Ukraine. And if you haven't seen the other video that I did in Red Alert, Ukraine's buff is, I believe, 10% faster build speed. Also, nice to know that even in the Red Alert universe, Brexit still happened. Johnny tried to do a bit of a scouting there, but I guess now he knows where Lim's base is, but yeah. No, but there's no way that he can really scout. Lim has already got most of his units up at this one choke point right here. So if you're going to want to have to do any sort of scouting, you're pretty much stuck with trying to defend this area. This might not be the best starting game for JohnnyDee and Ronan. These guys are probably going to have to build up their naval power so they can maybe have something to fire at all these guys. Because the thing is that, yeah, Sims just sent his units along around here as well, so yeah, that's not going to go too well. Speaking of, Sim is pretty much trying to do a bit of scouting, but well, they're at a bit of an impasse here, as you can see. As it happens, not they're like that what is it, Checkpoint Charlie, I think? They're stuck. Just like angrily staring at each other like some sort of demilitarized zone around here. But neither side is really willing to scout ahead. So this is going to be a very awkward standoff, I believe. Lim has got a good economy going so far. He's got about 2k. Hasn't built barracks or a war factory, so I'm just gonna assume he's gonna build a war factory. Synth has built a war factory instead. He's got 2 ore miners, no extra refinery yet. We might see one of those being popped up. Ronan's doing something, I guess. He's got a refinery up. He's got a war factory. He's got 3 miners, but I think it would do him a lot more favors to build another war factory somewhere down here. Johnny, you're gonna need to get another refinery going and a war factory, but we'll focus on that later. Let's see what's gonna happen here. I think it's gonna be an interesting one. I don't think that it's gonna last too long. Problem is that Lim and synthelectric already have 2 mammoth tanks, and Ronan is just having to back up with Johnny. Johnny's only got these light tanks, his allied units. It really depends on how well he can utilize those to take out those, ooh. I was gonna say, take out the V2 launchers, but now that hasn't happened, the onus is gonna be on Johnny to start pumping out those light tanks and get a solid defense going. Meanwhile, Ronan's got his his war factory, currently pumping up his heavy tanks, ready to start another defense. But he's gonna need to build another refinery, I guess, and he can definitely see about utilizing this field in the middle. John is actually pushing forward. He's managed to eliminate some of the vehicles that Lim and Synth had. But whether he's gonna take out this war factory is not gonna happen now. There's a Tesla coil. It's too late. That was a valiant effort by Johnny, but now that he's pretty much lost his starting units, he's gonna have to need to start building more and building them ASAP. But he can't really do that until he builds another refinery, I guess. He wants to keep up on his eco as well as possible. It's nice to see a match like this where it didn't feel completely, shall we say, unmatched in ELO. Synth, looking out for his homie here, he's got 5 heavy tanks plopped up here. I think that's going to be a nice stable defense for now, while one of them decides what they're going to do. Looking back, he's got 2 Tesla coils. I'm not entirely sure if the second one is necessary, to be honest with you. He might as well be plopping it somewhere around here, because the thing is maybe, in retrospect, maybe not. It really depends. I'm not too well remembered in shall we say, in how the superpowers work. But you do get paratroopers as the Soviets, but I'm not entirely sure if you have to scout first to accomplish that. But as far as I could tell, yeah, I don't think Ronan has built an airfield for that, which you'll need to deploy those paratroopers in the first place. He's built a second war factory, and he's descending. He's got more heavy tanks coming up. We've got a good, solid, stable defense going on here, and they keep pumping out those medium tanks, keep pumping out those heavies, and we're seeing the same thing happen with Synth and Lim. It all depends on who's got the control of this choke point. Whoever can make the most use of it as quickly as possible is going to be the guys who win. What also matters is their eco game, and Lim's got a good one. He's actually got a pretty stable one, which is something you need. When you're spawning this close to a choke point, you want to make sure you have as good an economy as possible to top up on any units that you lose. So he's doing a good job here. He's got 3 refineries, he's built an airfield, so we might start seeing more paratroopers. Not seeing a radar dome yet from Synth. I presume Synth's tactic here is just to keep pumping out those heavy tanks and sending them to the frontier so they have them. So Lim has a stable eastern front. But I'm not seeing any radar domes, I'm not seeing any airfields. I'd like to see what his game plan is. He's got some good eco. He's constantly topping up on those resources. Ronan's built a sub yard, but he hasn't built any submarines yet. I'm wondering if he might be waiting until he builds the tech center, this little dude right here, because what that means is now he can build missile subs, which he can deploy around here, and have a long range artillery against these heavy tanks. Lim's sent a spy plane out. He only knows about this part. If he went a little bit west, he would have seen more of Johnny's base. Speaking of, Johnny's got himself a radar dome and a tech center. He's got another war factory ready. I think he should probably think about getting a refinery built somewhere down here. The attack's starting around here as well. This all depends on how well Johnny and Ronan can funnel them. Lim's withdrawn his troops, but he could have a potential for an ambush by Synth. But Johnny and Ronan do not want to take the bait, because if they do, not only are they going to be ambushed by these heavy tanks here, but there's also these 2 Tesla coils. And I think this guy is going to want to wait a little bit longer. Just waiting for his artillery to catch up. He's got some more medium tanks coming in too. And we're seeing the first, I think that's a missile sub, slowly creeping up. We're not seeing any naval power yet. Though, considering how it looks like on the map, there's not really any real good chances for them to do that. Just have the first Tesla coil. Lim's just having the absolute crap being beaten out of one of his ore miners. He's going to want to defend it. He didn't, and he's reacted too late to that. But that's 1 Tesla coil done. It's an absolute fisticuff going on over here, and it all really depends on how well these guys can defend against it. But it looks like the offensive by Johnny and Ronan has failed, and Lim and Sim have actually got a good amount of heavy tanks still prepared and ready. The missile sub is there, and it's taking out some heavy tanks, but whether it's going to be enough is going to be decided to be seen. He's built another couple of missile subs, but he's going to want to deploy them up north as soon as possible. He's lost his offensive forces and his defenses. So if Synth and Lim push forward now, which they are doing with his paratroopers, we might actually see a turnaround. There's no defenses right now, so theoretically Lim and Synth could push forward right now, and it would they'd easily get a good chunk of the base sorted. Ronan's building some V2 launchers, but he really needs to think about getting more of those heavies sorted. They're broke as well. That's not good. That's a very bad sign. They're constantly running low on money now. They're gonna have to push out. They're gonna have to push out. Johnny's losing his ore miners. He's only got the 1 ore miner now. And Ronan's lost his... Oh! Oh no! Oh! Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's terrible. Ronan, you're losing your ore miners. Push him back quickly. Oh, would he get it? Will he save it in time? Oh, that's terrible luck. That's so unfortunate. He just lost. Oh, and he lost his missile subs. Oh no. That's terrible. John is down to 2 ore miners. Ronan's down to 3. But they've got next to no resources now. Lim, he's got paratroopers coming in. He's wearing them down. We might be seeing the GG soon from these guys. Ronan's got some defenses going in. But he hasn't got the money to repair that radar dome. Meanwhile, look at Lim and Sim's economy. They're just bursting with ore fields. I wonder if this may have even been a little unfair. I wonder what the Oh, Johnny just tapped out. Johnny just tapped out of the game. He's just GG'd. And there's still 2 minutes on the clock. What's Ronan going to do? Is he gonna fight till the last? Oh no. The eco was just too strong for these guys. They had way too much. They were just constantly eating and eating. And because Johnny and Ronan didn't manage to get the upper hand when it came to the early game, whatever resources they had have been squandered. They're down. He's down to 3. now. He's down to a barracks, refinery, and war factory. His miners are doing nothing. There are resources down here, but I don't think he is even really bothering at this rate. He's built... He's selecting some units. I wonder if it's going to start consolidating. This has to watch, guys. This genuinely has to watch. I wonder if on a separate map, I think we might have actually seen a more even match, but this was painful. Ronan's not giving up till his last. He's built one last heavy tank, but he knows it's over, and he's GG'd. What a game. Let's take a look at the at LimSv for now. He's built 4 SAM sites, not needed at all, but he managed to keep a good one in case Johnny decided to build some longbows. That's not happened though. He had so much coming in and building medium tanks, but he didn't push early enough, and I think that's where things went wrong. There's a lot of resources here, and I just noticed this. Synth even got an MCV ready. He was going to start exploring Southern Africa. There was going to be... There's even like a little beach. Chances are if Ronan had built an LST and got an MCV in there, he could have deployed around here and had a good amount of resources to carry on the fight. It all depends on if they knew about this. Because if they did, then they could easily just... Don't mind the traffic, alright? It's just one of those days. But yeah, Lim had a very, very good defense going on here. He knew about this checkpoint. And he had all of his units started here. He tried to do a bit of a push, got pushed back fairly easily from the starting units, but once they were gone, Lim and Synth easily could have pushed then and won themselves the game. He's got, what's that, 5 refineries. Probably just as many, if not maybe give or take a couple of ore miners. He's built himself 6 airfields. So he could have gotten air superiority. I didn't see any AA guns at SAM sides from blue and purple. Synth kept it simple. He's got 3 refineries, 3 war factories. His role, I suppose, was providing backup to them and just helping keep the pressure. And he did an excellent job of that. He kept sending forward heavy tanks, and so did Lim. And it's amazing what those heavy tanks can do. But if we check about the early game, Lim, yeah, he wasn't on too strong a point, but I honestly feel that Johnny and Ronan could have pushed right now, and they would have gotten a little bit further. You know, focus fired the mammoth tanks. Maybe attack those next, but he didn't take that many advantages, and that cost him the game. For the Allies, you gotta use that, as the Germans I should say, you gotta use that damage bonus and push just that little bit more. And that's where we would have been of some use if they were able to take down that war factory. That would set Lim back by 2,000 credits, but that just didn't happen. What a fantastic early game from Johnny. You know, he kept the pressure up. The problem was that he didn't put the pressure on until it was too late. You know, he should have kept pushing, should have kept maneuvering around here, but he kept those units still, and that's why he started losing his units so quickly. Ronan, bless him, He managed to get his heavy tanks ready, but it was too little too late at that rate. That Tesla coil really done in Johnny, and the fact that Civ was sending in reinforcements like that, that's awful. Great, that was a great play from Lim and Synthetic, but on the other hand, you can see they had a lot more resources to start with. They had the upper hand, they had more land, they had more eco. And Ronan and I should say Johnny as well, didn't utilize Africa like they should have done, in my opinion. Instead, once they ran out of all his resources, it was essentially game over for them. And that's more or less what happened here. A great play overall. And yeah, Britain's gone from the world. We took Brexit to the next level. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to to put a comment. And I'll see you in the next video. It's gonna be fun. Command & Conquer again. Might even see if I could get a team game going. It will be exciting. Trust me. I'm Hiromaki.